I'm a former Disney World cast member, and today I'm exposing all of the crazy rules cast members must follow, and busting some cast member myths along the way. Now, I've actually reached out to some of my cast member friends for this one to help me out, and they work in entertainment and guest relations, so today's gonna get pretty juicy. This is not gonna be your typical cast members can't do this video. No, like we're getting into it. And I'm saving the best for last, and I might actually be busting the most viral Disney World trend on the internet right now. But you're gonna have to wait until the end for that one. Let's get into it. The Disney World parks are absolutely magical, and it takes a special kind of person to make that happen, and a lot of work. It's widely talked about on the internet about how Disney World cast members have an insane laundry list of rules they must follow in order to work for the mouse. I once knew someone who got fired from Disney World for eating a cupcake. True story. But what if I told you that Disney has recently lightened up on some of their rules? For years, Disney World cast members were not permitted to have any visible tattoos at all. But not anymore. Back in 2021, Disney relaxed its policy to allow visible tattoos on cast members, with the exception of placement on the face, head, or neck. They also must be no longer than the cast member's hand, and of course must be family friendly and appropriate. If a cast member wishes to paint their nails, they must use the same solid color on each nail or have a French manicure style. No decals, no charms, no bright neon colors. They must keep them short, not exceeding 1/4 of an inch beyond the fingertip. While cast members can have ear piercings, other body modifications such as tongue piercings, tongue splitting, tooth filling, earlobe expansion, or disfiguring skin implants are not allowed. Disney does not want a physical effect that disfigures, deforms, or detracts from a professional image. Lastly, there are also rules about hairstyles. While the cast member can choose whatever length hair they want, hair color needs to be maintained and be in a naturally occurring hue. No blues, greens, pinks, purples, or similar colors that would not look natural. I am so happy that Disney let up a little bit on the tattoo policy. I don't have any tattoos. I think they're very pretty. I don't think I can ever commit to getting a tattoo, but it's been really fun to walk around the parks and talk with cast members and see their tattoos. A lot of them have Disney-related tattoos. So the fact that they used to not be able to show those while they worked at Disney World was kind of crazy. So props to Disney for reeling back on the rules a little bit. Of course, you gotta keep tattoos family friendly. They still wanna look professional, but we are now in the day and age where tattoos can be professional, and I think that's great. So if you have a Disney tattoo, let me know in the comments below because I wanna know. I love looking at them, but you'll never see me with a tattoo. My first location that I worked at in Disney World was Woody's Lunchbox. Love that place, love the tachos, love the Lunchbox tarts. A boy came up to me once, he was probably in middle school. He said to me, "It's ironic that it's called Andy's Backyard, but it opened after Toy Story 3 came out." And that kind of sent me into a crisis. Because that's true. And there's a lot of places and things like that that happen in Disney World that don't exactly line up with the story because, you know, Toy Story 3, the toys don't live with Andy anymore. They live with Bonnie. Spoiler alert, sorry. Yeah, so he said that to me and then I kind of went down a rabbit hole after that. And it kind of ruined my day because then I was sad and I don't like to think about it anymore. Now this next section is all about costumes. Let me explain a little bit. Everyone there is a cast member because you're all part of the show. So there's on stage versus backstage, meaning on stage where guests can see you, backstage where it's only employees. Your uniform is a costume. Every cast member at Disney World has a costume. Cast members will check out their costumes at certain costume locations around the resort depending on where they work. Now, each costume piece has a little ID tag that checks out the piece of the cast member. You basically scan it, it has a barcode on it, so then Disney knows you checked out, like a library book. You checked out that costume piece. It's on your name. If you don't return it, they're gonna charge you for it. So yeah, Disney does track this. They're gonna know how many costume pieces you have at home. If your costume is very elaborate, like mine was when I moved to Galaxy's Edge, you've got a shirt, you've got the belt, you've got the pants, you've got maybe a vest, you've got the little pouch, the bag, you've got a rain gear, like poncho or what have you. You've got so many costume pieces, a hat, and you have to scan all of them out and Disney will track how many you have because there are limits. You can either take your costumes home to wash them yourself or in between your shifts each day, if you wanted to change out of your costume after work, drop them off at costuming, go home, then come back the next day for your shift, grab new costume pieces. I never did that because I would just rather wash them at home with my clothes and not have to worry about getting even earlier. That could take up a lot more time, and you have to be there earlier for your shift. Also, you never knew what sizes they would have for each costume piece. Like maybe they're out of the size that you needed, so you're gonna have to go up a size, and then you're gonna be uncomfortable all day at work. So once I had my costume pieces, I kept them. Also, cast members' footwear has to meet certain specifications. Like my shoes for working in food and beverage had to be non-slip. They give you a list of certain ones that you can buy. You can buy them yourself at a shoe store. You can get them through Disney. There are many options. And each role has different requirements for that. So that's going to change depending on where you work. We're going to talk a little bit about entertainment here in this costume section, but don't worry, we've got a whole section on entertainment later. Let's talk about character performers and their costumes. Character performers must wear basics underneath their costumes. These basics are checked out through costuming and are a protection barrier between the cast member's body and the costume. Some of AllEars' former cast members shared that they knew character performers that would have to check out multiple basics in a day due to sweating in the heat. So let me explain these basics because you can spot them in the parks. I spot them every time I'm there. It's a basic gray t-shirt and black athletic shorts. Looks like something anybody else would wear, but they don't have anything on it. Just plain gray, plain black. Now you can really only spot basics in Hollywood Studios per se because, you know, Magic Kingdom has the underground tunnels. Epcot also has some. All the other parks are really good at giving character performers a way to get around without being on stage in front of guests. Hollywood Studios is a little different because costuming basically is behind Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. That's the cast member employee entrance. It's back there. So if a cast member, character performer, is going to work, you know, in Star Wars Launch Bay, sometimes they just walk through the park. And they can do that because everything about their role for the day is hidden. Basic gray tee, black athletic shorts, they look like any sort of tourist. However, they will be carrying with them a large black duffel bag, usually on wheels. Kind of looks like a suitcase. They're pulling it behind them. That's how you know that it's a character performer. I just like to wonder what you got in that bag. Who you got in that bag? Cast members are not allowed to wear their costumes anywhere but work. You would get in serious trouble for wearing them anywhere outside of the Disney parks, outside of your clocked in shift. We've even had a team member talk about how one time she accidentally wore her Haunted Mansion skirt when she went to go visit her family staying at Coronado Springs. And the next day she had a little heart-to-heart meeting with her Disney leader because Disney is always watching you. You may get reprimanded, you may get a point, which is Disney speak for getting punishment. Do what you're supposed to and don't wear your costume outside of work. Cast members also must keep their blue IDs on them at all times. This is basically Disney's version of a work badge. It's gonna have your picture, your name, your Disney cast member number, all of that important information. You have to have it on you at all times when you are working. You also have to have it on you at all times if you're going to be backstage. Just a safety thing. And of course, they don't want anyone backstage who isn't supposed to be there. But here's the thing. As soon as cast members are off the clock, done for the day, that blue ID, keep it in your wallet because some restaurants around the Orlando area will offer cast member discounts. I'm looking at you, Millers, every Thursday. Okay, story time. So when you're on the college program, a lot of the college program kids will go to Miller's Ale House on Thursday after their shift. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time if you enjoy your cast member friends that you're there with or friends that you've made in the college program. Love me a Miller's Mountain Melt. I still get a DoorDash to Quincy's almost every time that I stay with her. But that's not the story. So there was one time I was at Miller's with all my friends, and Miller's does give you a cast member discount, but you have to give them your blue ID to go scan in the back, and then they'll bring it back out with your receipt. I forgot one time to get my blue ID back from Miller's, and I went home, didn't think anything of it, was going to have a shift the next day, woke up, realized I don't have my blue ID. So I went back to Miller's that morning, way before they were ever open. I knocked on the door. I was like, hey, I left my blue ID here last night. Do you still have it? They didn't have it. So then before my shift, I had to go to the right place to get a new blue ID. And it was really sad because I loved my first blue ID picture. I thought it was great. And the second one was terrible because I obviously wasn't ready to take a blue ID picture. and then I hated it for the rest of my program. So all of that to say, if you give Miller's your Blue ID for the cast member discount, be sure to get it back before you leave. I do have my name tag framed, and yes, I did cover the name. It is a little shadow box, and it's my 2 costumes that I wore. So Woody's Lunchbox and Galaxy's Edge. And I keep my name tag in here all the time. I really was a Disney World cast member, I promise. Okay, next section, and that is the park benefits. Of course, the best perk about being a cast member is getting into the parks for free, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And there are a lot of rules when it comes to getting into the parks for free. Cast members do get a main entrance pass, which gives them free access into the Disney World parks. However, they come with major blockout dates. Like on major holidays and crowded seasons, you might not even be able to get into the parks. Now, this is something we talk about all the time in our little Instagram reels and TikToks and stuff. Playing hooky as a Disney World cast member. It happens. Everybody does it in their job. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you do have to be smart about it. So if you call out of work at Disney World, you say, hey, I'm not going to be there today. I'm sick. If you call out sick for your Disney World shift and then scan into any of the Disney World parks that same day, you will get fired. That's one of the biggest no-nos. Don't do it. If you must play hooky, go to Universal instead. Cast members cannot enter the parks from backstage. You must clock out of work, change out of your clothes. If you drove there, you must get in your car, drive to the regular guest parking lot, park your car, go through security, and scan in like any normal guest. I never really did that, one, because I was a CP and I was working late hours, so anytime I got off of work, it was like midnight. Woody's Lunchbox, we had an apron and it had 2 big pockets in the front. Every Friday when I left work, I would have a Diet Coke in my hand because he would let us take home Diet Cokes. I would have like 4 lunchbox tarts, like 2 in each pocket. And then I would have a to-go box full of those brisket sandwiches. Like I was set for the weekend because he was a cool leader and that won't happen everywhere, but he made it fun to work there. We would also play games back in the kitchen on those late nights. So you can get really lucky sometimes depending on where you work, depending on your leaders. I had a blast. It was so much fun. Okay, we're getting a little bit juicier because now it's time to talk about character integrity. As a former cast member, as a person who has friends who are in Disney entertainment, character integrity is very important to me, and I want you all to think it's important too. Character integrity basically is not ruining the magic. I am an adult. I know how Disney World operates, but I'm playing along with the story. So there's one Mickey Mouse. There's one Minnie Mouse. There's one Ariel. There's one Rapunzel. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep that character integrity. And as long as I'm online talking about Disney World parks, I will keep character integrity. I think it is part of what makes the Disney parks so magical and so fun for everyone of all ages. I know there are a lot of people out there who are on the internet who like to break character integrity, and I don't like that, and I do not support that. So as long as you are here watching AllEars videos, you also will be keeping character integrity. There's also what I like to call story integrity, but with Galaxy's Edge specifically, I mean, I was on opening team, so we were training for probably 3 months or more before the land actually opened, and they were grinding it into us about story integrity and the background of the land. And each cast member, you had to pick where you came from on a certain planet, and you had to know your story. And when people were going to ask you questions, like, you had to stay in your story. I had to pretend that I did not know what Star Wars was. I had to pretend I didn't know anything about Disney World. And a guest would be like, where's Tower of Terror? And I would have to say, Tower of Terror? What is that? Tell me more. And to stay in that story, they really encourage us to, but obviously if a guest is ever frustrated, they've been walking around Galaxy's Edge all day trying to find Tower of Terror, and then they come up to you and they're like, hey, I am just trying to find Tower of Terror. Don't do that with me. Just tell me where the ride is. Then I'd be like, yeah, go that way. You're going to pass Toy Story Land, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about what characters cannot do when you meet them in the Disney World parks. Number 1, characters cannot do viral dances. So do not think that you're going to make a TikTok with Mickey Mouse. Characters are also not allowed to hold babies. I've seen videos online of some past character performers talking about this rule specifically, and sometimes they're like, of course I held that baby. Look at him, he's so cute. but they're technically not supposed to do that for safety reasons and for costuming reasons. Because can you imagine if you give your sweet little baby boy to Cinderella and she sits down and he's sitting on her lap and he spits up on her? That would not be good. That's gonna shut down Cinderella's line. She's gonna have to get a whole new dress. It's gonna take a while. What if it gets on the carpet and then they have to clean it up? Characters are not supposed to hold babies. So if you ask, they're gonna say no. Characters also cannot sign anything very important or electronic. I don't know why you would ask Mickey Mouse to sign your birth certificate, but he can't. No passports, no birth certificates, no park tickets, nothing like that. They cannot sign. They also cannot sign any shirts that are physically on your body. If you bring them a shirt that you're not wearing, they will sign it. They can absolutely do that. But you cannot physically be wearing your shirt and ask them to sign it. They will say no. Characters are also not allowed to be a part of any proposals, any engagements, any pregnancy reveals, any gender reveals, anything like that. Major life moments, decisions happening. They're gonna hop out of that video, hop out of that picture so fast. If you decide to pop a question at Disney World, great. Mickey's not gonna be in that photo, so sorry. Also, one more thing, kids have to have their shoes on when they meet characters. That might be a silly thing for me to have to say. Just like you have to wear shoes for a ride at Disney World, you have to have shoes to meet the characters. All right, I'm entering a new phrase into the AllEars vocabulary. Say it with me. We are all custodial. Anyone who is a Disney World cast member is part of the custodial team. Now, there are people who actually are in the custodial role, and that is their job every single day. But in general, every single cast member is taught and expected to pick up trash when they see it. They're gonna teach you to do a little Disney swoop, where you don't even have to stop. You're just gonna keep on walking and pick up the trash as you keep going to wherever you're headed. We are all custodial, which honestly is a great thing to implement in everybody's life. Just pick up the trash. That is why you will see Disney leaders with the little grabbers so that they don't have to really do the Disney swoop. They're just gonna pick it up with the grabbers and put it in the trash. So even the highest level of Disney cast members, they are all picking up trash. Cast members cannot accept tips if they are in a non-tipping role. So obviously, servers, housekeeping, there are certain roles where they can accept tips. Me working at Docking Bay 7, a quick service restaurant, if someone tried to give me a tip, I was not allowed to take it. If a guest would keep pushing to give me a tip, if they set it on the counter and then walked away, I would immediately have to take that cash, take it to my leader and say, someone just gave me this, here you go. If you go to Disney World and you meet a really great cast member and you want to give them a little extra magic, give them a cast compliment. Okay, because a cast compliment can go a long way. You can do this in the My Disney Experience app. If you click on the little 3 lines, bottom right, scroll down, cast compliment, fill out their information. You're gonna need to know their name, their hometown, kind of what area they worked in, what park, the day that you met them, so that people can go back and look and see who was on the schedule and give them that cast compliment. Disney leaders do recognize cast compliments. If you give them one, that cast member will be recognized for it. They're most likely gonna get something printed out. They're gonna be celebrated. If a cast member gets a lot of cast compliments, that's really gonna look good on their Disney resume. They work hard, they work very long hours. They're out in the sun every day. So please recognize a great cast member when you see one. All right, I promised you this in the very beginning of the video. So now it is time for my favorite part of this video, and probably will be your favorite part too. We are going to bust some cast member myths. I see videos online all the time about secrets of working at Disney World, crazy things that cast members have to do while working for Mickey Mouse, blah, 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 blah. A lot of the times they're not true, okay? It's clickbait, it's people making up rumors on the internet to get views and to get engagement. We here at AllEars would never do that. Everything we talk about is true and factual. Everything I'm about to say is completely true. I was a former cast member. I got my entertainment friends and guest relations friends to put stuff on this shot list. So this is true from current Disney World cast members. Cast members do not have to make magical moments. What? Crazy. A magical moment can be many different things at Disney World. Most of the time when people think magical moment, it is when a cast member goes out of their way to do something very special, maybe to give you something for free that you would normally have to pay for. Your kid is dressed up head to toe like Minnie Mouse, so they're going to make sure that your child goes to meet Minnie Mouse. There are very differing degrees of what cast members can actually do for these magical moments. Like many things, the internet has ruined magical moments. They used to be all over. Cast members could give so many magical moments throughout the day, every single day. And then it became this like viral thing on the internet to talk about and to post about. And now so many people know about them and so many people expect them. And that is where we go wrong. Do not ever expect a magical moment, because that's when guests start to become entitled and start to think, I deserve this because I paid to be here. Fun fact, everyone paid to be there. So that's when it starts to get icky and guests can be demanding and not so nice to cast members. Also, because of the internet, this has limited the amount of magical moments that cast members can actually give out. It's a magical moment. It's supposed to be magical. It's supposed to be rare. It's supposed to be when you meet a really cool cast member and they just feel like you've been so nice to them. You deserve this special little treat. It's a magical moment. Be nice and you'll never know what a cast member might be able to do for you, but do not expect it. Next up, the two-finger Disney point. Is this one true? It's kind of up for debate. I don't think there will ever be an official answer on this one. I think it's one of those fun things to talk about on the internet, but Disney's never going to say anything. A lot of people say Disney teaches their cast members to point with two fingers. Okay, so if you ask a cast member for directions, they're going to say, oh, Tower of Terror is that way, with two fingers instead of one, because in some cultures, pointing with one finger is considered to be rude. And people from all over the world go to Disney World. So just to be very nice, you're gonna do two fingers. Now, in my traditions class, they kind of tiptoed around it, but they also were like, just gesture with your whole hand. So I think it's kind of different with everybody. There are cast members that do it. Now, why people say that this one is not completely true is because when you look at old photos of Walt Disney walking around Disneyland, he enjoyed a cigarette, and when he was walking around, he would have a cigarette in his hand as he was walking through the park. They would take pictures of him, he would point to things. Disney has photoshopped out all of the cigarettes that Walt Disney used to smoke. So now all of those photos are photoshopped, so it looked like he was pointing with two fingers. But Disney wanted to kind of erase that he was actually smoking cigarettes. There's no harm in believing that it is true. There's no harm in believing that it's not true. It's just kind of one of those fun little Disney things that we talk about. The next myth that I'm about to bust is the myth that cast members can't say, I don't know. That's false. I said I don't know all the time. Cast members are allowed to say I don't know. Guests are gonna ask you crazy questions and you're not gonna know, and that's okay. The main thing that Disney wants for cast members is if they don't know something, they are going to find someone else who will know the answer. If they do say I don't know, they're gonna help you solve your problem. It might take a few minutes. They might have to go find someone else or call someone to figure out the solution to your problem. But it is okay and allowed for cast members to say, I don't know. Okay, the last two, very juicy. These are two things that I want to scream from the mountaintops because people don't understand. You don't understand. The myth that cast members are not allowed to tell you no. That is completely false. A cast member can tell you no. Absolutely. A cast member will tell you no, not all the time, not because they want to, but really, they will tell you no if it compromises your safety or someone else's safety. Those are the big reasons why a cast member would say no. If you're being rude to a cast member and you're expecting something special, they're gonna say no. They might have that dessert in the back. They're gonna say, no, we're out. And then they're gonna go give that dessert to the other table that was being very nice to them, and they're gonna make a magical moment for that other group because they were nice and you weren't. You don't know how hard it is to work in Orlando in the heat of the summer for 12 hours when guests are yelling at you that it's raining. Disney doesn't control the weather. That's another myth that I didn't think I would have to bust today, but yeah, Disney does not control the weather. It's not the cast member's fault that the ride broke down. Probably your fault because your hat flew off on Rise of the Resistance and the vehicle ran over it and now the entire track's messed up and they have to turn the ride down and turn it back on. And it's gonna take half an hour. Okay, it's not the cast member's fault, it's yours because you wore a hat when they told you to take it off. Sorry, let me step off my soapbox for a second. Cast members can tell you no, dealing with your safety or the safety of others or the safety of the character performers as well. Oh, if your kid's sitting on like the ropes in the queue line for whatever ride you're in, they're going to tell you no. They're going to tell you get off of that because you're going to fall off and you're going to hit your head on the ground and it's going to hurt. Cast members can absolutely tell you no. Okay, we've made it to the last one. I told you I saved the best for last. I am about to bust one of the most viral trends on the internet right now. And I'm very sorry to burst your bubble, but someone has to tell you the truth. This whole Disney World hug rule is false. It is an internet rumor. It is not true. I'm so sorry to say that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a viral thing going on Instagram, on TikTok, all over right now. And it is about Disney World characters. And when you meet them, this hug rule that someone has made up is a rule where the characters are not allowed to let go of your hug first. So everybody's posting these really cute videos of their children or their friends or whoever going up to hug this character. And it's a really sweet moment and they're hugging forever. And they're like, the characters, like, they're not allowed to let go of your hug first. They're going to hold you as long as you need them to. And it's going to be the best, most magical moment. It's going to heal your whole body and it's going to be lovely. That is not true. Disney characters love giving out hugs. That is part of what they do all day, every day. It is so magical and it's great. But this whole hug rule thing, where they're not allowed to let go of you until you do first, absolutely false. I don't know who started that, and I don't know why other people are believing it. They actually have a certain number of guests that they have to meet every hour, so they're gonna hug, they're gonna wave, they're gonna take their picture, and then they're on to the next guest. Also, if that were true, you would be mad that Rapunzel is in front of you hugging this little girl for 30 minutes, making you sit in the line that much longer. That's just not realistic. It's very cute to imagine, so sweet, but very unrealistic and very false. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Overall, my time as a cast member was wonderful, and I would recommend it to anyone who is interested at all. Follow your dreams, become a Disney World cast member, even if it's just for a couple months, like with the Disney College Program. Follow your heart, kids. If you're still here, be sure to like the video and put this secret code in the comments so I know that you watched the whole thing. And don't forget to subscribe. We upload challenges, resort reviews, restaurant reviews, and secrets 7 days a week from Disney World, Universal, and beyond. We're serious about fun here. See you next time.